Hello investors and welcome back to Just Randy Stocks. You know what time it is. It's Proterra time. That's right. Wow, what happened today? You might be sitting there trying to figure it out, and so was I. I'm going to walk through my process on what I do to figure out what the hell is going on when something like this happens. So today was crazy. I didn't see that coming, but I'm going to walk you through it. Let's not delay any further. We're going to get into some technical charts. We're going to get into some news. We're going to look at institutional ownership. We're going to look at everything. So it's not going to take long. So let's not delay anymore and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I did was I looked up the headlines. So we know there's all kinds of things happening in the economy, and I'm trying to make some type of correlation between the unemployment numbers, which were technically associated with leisure and hospitality. Thinking about tapering in December. I'm thinking about global chip shortage. I'm trying to make sense and say who else is experiencing the same type of price volatility, and I can't find anything. I find some things that are concerning. Goldman cuts its GDP forecast on Delta variant setback, fading fiscal stimulus. So first I want to understand what's going on with the economy in general to see if there's anything that's related to Proterra, and then I search for Proterra specifically, and this is the next article I find. At the very bottom, it was interesting. Now this came out at what time? It came out at 9:57. And how is this person going to talk about price movement as far as like so far 469,000 shares have been compared to the average daily volume. Basically, they're saying volume today is light. Volume wasn't light today. Volume, and we'll take a look at it. So you can see we did almost 5 million in trading volume. That's huge for Proterra. You guys know this is at about a 1.8, 1.9 million trading volume, and it was heavy selling. Last week was 12%, and that was good. I mean, people were concerned last week. These are my thoughts. People were concerned last week that 12% was good for Proterra on a run. So, I mean, some people took profits. They may have taken it on Friday. They may have taken it at 9:30 this morning, but people knew the market was going down, all those indicators. What people are doing is they're looking at headlines globally before the market even opens, and they're like, see ya, capturing profits, I'm going to get in lower. And some of these stocks take the hit and some of them don't. And they're doing a comparison of, well, where has it been trending? Is it time for it to go down? The ones that have went down are going up, and the ones that have been going up are going down. So, people are just being smart about locking in profits. Went to Twitter. This is my next thought. Nothing but good news on Twitter. Let me know if I'm wrong. I scrolled through there. I didn't see anything that would lead me to deviate. So let's just get straight into the charts, right? Because, I'm trying to make sense of the chart to say, all right, where is the RSI? Because as I showed you before, the RSI indicator, when it goes off, it's typically going to tell people that are looking at 50 screens that, hey, this is a buy. So what's going to happen tomorrow? I backed the charts up because it's just not good enough for me to see one candlestick. You can change this time frame from 1 hour to 30 minutes. You can play with it all you want. I've already set it up to where I believe it best represents the chart. The 1 hour chart, look at the size of that candlestick. The RSI is down there below the line. This is a do not touch for me right now just because I want to see support. So we got this down in the $8 range. We got this down in the $9 range. This middle area, I don't like it. If you took profits, congratulations. You've got to take profits at some point. I set that September 7th line in there as green because it's a marker we're going to need to look at going forward. So I don't have anything else to say about the price action. I believe if you all got this down here, you're still up. You're up $2. You're up, at least $1.50 on this action. So most of you probably had to average down, but everybody's in a better place. You're not going to gain anything from, say you've got an $11 average and you're trying, maybe you thought it would never come back to the 10s and you're a little shocked, just like me. So I drew in a support range here. You can see it's 1029 to 1046. I drew this in earlier. It looks like it's still holding up. We'll zoom in. So anything within that range if you just ran into money and your level's like super high, I'm talking about like if you're still in the $15 range or something like that, I would say you want to start cost averaging down. So you take 25% of your total allocation. I like to compare this to $100 because it's just easier to do the numbers. You take $25 and you start eating a little bit of this at a time. And you know what I've talked about in my videos before. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, but if this helps you, get in lower, take the advice, wait for that dip in the morning and buy it. Wait for that second dip if you're not sure. If it does something crazy like this, if it does anything above a 5% dip on that initial dip, I'm sorry, you just got to let this one keep falling and just watch it. I would say for any stock, if you've got a huge candlestick movement like this in the first hour, I mean, look at that. Don't touch it. Stay away. Like, get away from it. It is a falling knife. So those are my thoughts there. The next thing I wanted to do was take a look at, institutional holdings and ownership and volatility, and I wanted to compare it with FinViz. So I looked up institutional ownership, 22%. So I went into FinViz and looked and compared the institutional ownership to see if maybe there was something transacting that was large, or maybe it could have an impact if there was a large ownership institutional wise. And institutional ownership was about average when you compare it with the other industries. So I didn't see anything here either. So the only thing I could think of is relative volume, and there was definitely a lot of volume, and it wasn't its average number of volume. There was just a high level of sell-off. So let's take a look at relative volume. So we've got this price sitting here, and you could see relative volume-wise, it was number 2 right here with the FFIE. And look at the candlestick. You can see it right there. The candlestick here. Bam. I mean, it's obvious. Look at the candlestick here. When you have this relative trading volume that is so high, and I talked about this in my Patreon. I did a special little article about it. I talked about the relative volume. Some people search for this to trade. So it's a big deal. It can make the price move huge. Now, I like to look at this chart. Just you can see how it kind of started to mellow out. So we had that huge drop, but when you look at it for the entire day and after hours, it's trying to come back up. So I drew some previous support lines, and I felt like we went past those. We came back down. I put them in again. I mean, 12% was nothing last week. And another thing is the infrastructure bill. Boys and girls can't get along up in the White House, So I mean, this $3.5 trillion, I have to agree. I don't know how you feel. Normally, I don't stand on one side of the fence or another, but we have to control this spending. Just focus on the infrastructure part. I don't think there's any disagreement that we need $500 billion to $1 trillion of infrastructure spend, but they are trying to wrap this with all kinds of hidden agenda items, and it's causing some concern. Now, I don't think that was solely the reason here, and you could see it if you just go back to FinViz and you compare your stocks, and let's just do it real quick. Let's compare let's unfilter this and look at just volume, just regular volume, or even price change. I mean, if you line it up, not everybody had a bad day. I mean, I didn't correlate this to economical, some systemic issue. Proterra ran up last week, and it was a target for people taking profits. People have been getting punched in the face with Proterra, and some people were like swooping it up. So this is what leaves me a little bit concerned. And normally I can get this chart to make sense, but right now it's not even showing that it's in a buy area as far as the Bollinger Band. So you could see here, and I have tried to get this to make some sense, and according to this chart, and maybe it's wrong, maybe it's not. That's why I'm like, I wouldn't even touch it right now, because the way that it looks is it's actually in an uptrend maybe this was a bottom, but it's in the medium area. It's in the upper range. It dipped down, but this was a few days ago, back when we knew it was a buy. Right now, I mean, that's why I said it just depends where your average is, what your strategy is, and maybe some people feel, hey, I've never had Proterra. Heard they had a 12% day. There's no reason for it. I want to start a position. Yeah, I would say maybe you want to start an initial position, but that's totally up to you. I mean, this is just in a hold pattern. So the last thing I wanted to cover, we had some questions about warrants and the warrant timing and how it would impact or affect the price. I'm not even worried about warrants at this point. I just want to see the price get back to $18. So in page number 53, if you scroll down, it's like the second paragraph. It talks about the warrants and it gives you the 20 trading days with a 30-day trade period. It talks about the timing here of when those could be exercised. And there's actually a really good video that gives you the basics on talking about warrants. And this guy, Patrick, does a good job. This is old, but it still is relevant and nothing's changed about the concept. And right here at 11:38, go check out that video. I have no problems with sharing the love. Just to keep this video short, warrants aren't an issue because, I mean, we just need to get price stability right now. We are Proterra long. Know what you hold, because when you're watching it every day, and you can very easily forget what the company is about. It's going to have an incredible Q3, I believe. I think they're going to knock it out of the park. I could be wrong about all this, but if you know that this goes down into the $9 range again, that's where I believe it's a buy. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Anything could impact a price target of $23 by the end of the year. I'm still overly optimistic. Now, if all of these conversations continue to happen with 5% adjustment of the overall market, which we haven't seen in a while, and the weakening of the market and all this pumping happening, people not going back to work for whatever reasons. I have my beliefs. I did a video on Coursera where I believe half of the workforce is going to need to reskill by 2025. So check that video out if you haven't already. So I have my theories on what's happening. People are, going to have all kinds of assumptions about what happens. You're never going to go wrong if you hold on to companies that you believe in for the long term, and Proterra will always be a leader in this space. They do have competition, of course, but I've got confidence that this company's going to see it through. One day you're going to wake up and this price is going to be where it's going to make you proud that you held on to it. And I think there's a lot of you out there that know that this one, unless something really crazy happens, but the Altoona testing, the battery testing, it's a solid company. So I don't have any concerns. That's all I got. Hey, go ahead and give a shout out in the comments below. Blow off some steam. But remember, whatever your trading strategy is, if at some point you need to take profits, if you're not holding this, if you're not just buying it and forgetting about it, if there's something you need, if you've got money tied up in this, when it runs like it does, you on an individual basis might need to have a different strategy than other investors. But you should only put money in here that you don't plan on touching until 24, 25. That is when this company goes profitable. That's the time range that we're looking at on these growth stocks. When you get in early on these stocks, they haven't really accomplished everything they're set out to do. The gross margin, we're not even at 4% target yet. We are still working on getting the cost down on everything. So there's still a lot Proterra has to do. We know Proterra will get there. The price will reflect the fundamentals. It'll go up. We just need infrastructure bill to pass. We need costs to go down overall. We got to produce more buses. We got to get into serial production. We're early, and that's why We're seeing some of these lumps along the way. People took profits. I'm not concerned. You shouldn't be concerned. And I'll see you in the next video.